Hello! Today we'll talk about very sad orchids. Do you have such plants at your home? I have many of them that needs to be rescued, or they need to recoup it some way, or they are really sick, ill, something happened to them along the way. None of these orchids, they are new orchids, by the way, just to let you know. They are all old orchids and they have different types of ailments, issues, and I want to talk to you about them and about the issues and try to fix them with you. I hope that's something that would be interesting for you, or maybe you can give me some tips as well from things that you learned along the way. I will tell you a little bit about these plants and I'm going to tell you what's happening to all of them. Sorry about this very long introduction, but it was needed. So I have here 4 different orchids and all of them are dehydrated. I can tell that they are sick for any sort of issues. I have 2 of them that look a little bit better and 2 of them are very, very sad. Start with the saddest of these, one of my favorite orchids. This one is my Prostechea vitelina. I've showed you many times. The first video that I recorded for this channel, it was with my Prostechea vitelina. I don't know if the mix was very old and suddenly it became to rot and lose all of its roots. I have the pesticide here as well. I also skipped watering this plant and it was pretty sensitive, especially when it gets really warm. Or I don't know what happened. What I know and what I notice is that all of the growths are starting to rot and to die. The new growth's gone, as you can see here. It never happened before. And I don't think I have live roots inside this pot. I have very sad many growths, and all of them are sad. And I have a section that's actually completely rot. So that is my Prostechea vitelina. If you don't know, I have videos about this plant. I link them down below. Lots of collectors, they have this species. It's easily available on nurseries and should be a cheap orchid as well. It's gorgeous, beautiful. I love it so much. Next one, talking about very sad case. I have here my Dendrobium tapiniense. I hope I pronounced it correctly. This one is a little bit different. I bought it as a sibling. I knew it was a very young plant. And young plants, they are very sensitive. What happened to this one? It produced new growths. It was growing, producing roots until thrips attacked it. So it got attacked by thrips, lost all of its leaves, and slowly but surely started to decline. So I noticed that although I kept it in its pot, I covered with a plastic lid, none of this was happening this plant to recover. It's a very tiny, I have only pseudobulbs in here, so I need to do something with this one. Next one, it's another classic orchid. It's one that lots of people that love orchids have in their collection. Also a beautiful one with warm tones, warm flowers, is my Renanthera monachica. This plant has some sort of issues, and I had this with another Vandaceous orchid. It has white mold that is not affecting the root system, it's affecting the stem. So the white mold is coming up from the roots to the stem, and I think it's making this plant weaker. I don't want to lose it. I've already treated with hydrogen peroxide. It didn't help at all, didn't kill the mold. I start slowly and surely not watering it as much as I was watering before. I've changed the pot, all that. Nothing actually helped the plant. Something very weird is going on down here. And it's the second plant that has these fungus. The other one, I believe the fungi killed my other Vandaceous. And I think this one has the same issue. Anyway, I'm gonna put it down. And the last one, it's not as sad as the other cases, but it's also very sad because I can see the plant is all dehydrated and it's not hydrating itself. The pseudobulbs, the new growths are smaller than the old ones, and when we have smaller growths, usually means that the plant is stressed. Basically, I can see that the root system is not growing into the pot. I know that this mix is old. I had a very terrible mix 2 years ago. Maybe that's the issue. And this one is my encyclia. I have only encyclia here, but I used to have a tag for that. It's that encyclia that people say that it smells like chocolate as well, I think, or similar to chocolate, very sweet fragrance. I will add the tag down below what I think it is from the seller, the nursery, when the nursery sold me this one. Anyway, I'll leave the tag down below, but I'm sad because, as you can see, I have 2 Prostecheas here. I love them so much. Why are you not doing well? Why are you not doing well? Anyway, I will start talking about one by one and showing you what I will do to try to fix the issues with these orchids. And also I can create some updates in the future. I can grab them and show you how they are recovering, if the fungus have gone away or if it's still here. And we can also talk about different methods to try to recoup or hydrate your plants. I will start with the one that I want to save the most. That's my Prostechea vitelina. I will show you what's happening to this root system and how I'm gonna treat it. If you are interested in this type of content, please hit the like button, leave a comment down below and stay here with me. And if you're feeling like you enjoy my channel, subscribe as well, it helps me a lot. And let's go and pot this plant up. So as you can see here, I have some moss. I have a white plastic pot without any ventilation hole. I have my Prostechea vitelina here and a pair of scissors if I need it for something. But let's first of all remove it from this pot. This used to be a beautiful ceramic pot, but I lost its legs, so it's still really nice, but I will not be able to reuse this one. Let's do something here. The mix is very old. I pot it in bark and sphagnum moss, as I do with all of my plants. Used to have a beautiful root system and produced so many flowers in the past. I was so proud of my vitelina. It got me a little bit sad that it started to die. It was very sudden as well. So I don't know what happened to it. But I can see from the stage of the pseudobulbs and the stage of the root system, since the new growth rot as well was not able to push new roots or produce new growths, something's off, but like very off. We don't know what it is, but I will do my best to try to save it. I may lose this plant, and if it happens, I will be a little bit sad, but what to do, right? They are living beings. And it's not always possible to save and to have them forever. Sometimes we need to replace some of them. Buy many orchids at the moment. I have done not proper holes this year, but in the UK, I think around the globe after the pandemic, we are experiencing the cost of living. Lots of people are struggling. Things are very expensive at the moment, so I need to choose if I want to have some good times with my family or like buying plants. I cannot do both at the same time because they cost me money, especially buying from nurseries, paying the delivery and all that. I wish I could do it more often. I bought one plant recently and I'm looking for plants locally. I will record a video about it soon. So I have 2 eyes here, which is amazing. I don't think you're probably not being able to see it, but I'll give you some close-ups. Let me try to remove all of this moss first. Removing moss from the root system is very easy. It's not difficult at all. I have a completely raw pseudobulb here that's black. It's not fitting any purpose anymore. This one is gone. Like Cattleya and other simple orchids, one thing that you can see is look to the old bulbs and look to the roots that come from the old bulbs. These roots are probably all dead, so we can just come and cut it easily. They are black as well, they are mushy. I don't think I have live roots, and I don't know how sensitive Prostechea roots are. if it's compared to Cattleyas, because Cattleyas usually they have very sensitive roots. I don't know if I didn't water it for very long and then I overwater, because if you do that you can also mess the root system. You know, you can rot them up. If it was because I offer it too much fertilizer, I don't think it was that the case. Look into the how the plant is. I know that this section of the plant looks like it's rotten. Come close to you. This one has it has an eye here. I have 3 new possibilities if nothing rotty here. So that's one eye. Let me just see, that's another eye. So the eye is the area of the plant where the new growth will sprout. Okay, and that's where the other pseudobulb, the new one, which was completely rot, was this side. Let me see, I just pull it off, and I have another eye in here. So what I have now is a few pseudobulbs that hopefully will survive, and some eyes. I will add a layer of moss on the bottom of this pot, like so. I think I added too much moss, but that's okay. So I don't know if it's possible to see from there, but I have a layer of moss in here. And I will just grab my plant, like so, nothing a lot, and I will place it inside the pot. What I need to do now is to cover with some plastic, transparent plastic, and I will leave it underneath my growing lights. I will offer the same light that I was offering before, and I will pray that these new growths, they decided to grow and mature. If that happens, I have a great chance of saving my plant, since I do have some pseudobulbs, but they are very dehydrated, and that's completely my fault. But maybe increasing the humidity, the plant won't dehydrate it so fast, and I will increase the chance of it surviving, since it already has new eyes. So now I need these new eyes to sprout, to grow, and then with newer divisions, I will have greater chance to have more roots, because the newer growths will produce roots, and then my plant will be hydrated again. I will show you in the end of the video how it is, and now let's talk about the next plant. This one is a very similar case to the Prostechea, that's why I'm repotting it now. So that's my tapiniense. I will remove from this pot, and I will do the same. I will add a layer of moss in here, and I will cover this pot. I just sterilized my pair of scissors because these plants, none of them are healthy, and maybe they can spread some fungi, some virus among themselves, and I don't want to do that. So I need to increase the humidity around this plant, and I use the same technique that I use with my Prostechea, because when I increase the humidity, I increase the chance of this plant to survive. When I have humidity around this plant, they won't lose so much water to the environment, which will keep them a little bit more hydrated than before, or at least not losing as much water as they were before. And at the same time, if it has a proper hormonal balance, it will pull out new roots and new growths. That's why I'm doing that. So I would just add a layer, a little bit more, you know, of moss, like so. I have to remove it from this pot. I think this one has live roots. How I know that this plant has live roots? Because the pseudobulbs, they are not dehydrated, and that makes such a difference. Although it doesn't have any leaf, because of the amazing infestation of thrips that I had, it does have live roots, and I was right. So what I'm gonna do is I will check the roots in this case. Can you see that this has roots and it's not as dehydrated as the Prostechea? I need to touch the root system and check for the roots that are alive and the ones that are not anymore. So I knew that this back bulb didn't have live roots, so I just removed that. I think most of these roots, they are not dead. So I'm gonna be very, very gentle, you know, with them. I don't want to break roots. Like I have a root that's dead here, another one that's completely dead here. Look, all of this portion was dead. I really want to save this one. I have like an emotional connection to this plant because I've been growing this Dendrobium for a while now. And I bought from a nursery. It's not exactly a nursery. It's a place here in the UK that they propagate orchid seedlings and they sell very young orchids. I lost all of them, to be honest. I'm not gonna remove the other roots. So what I will do, I will place it inside this mix with this amount of roots, and I will cover this pot with a transparent lid of some sorts. Before that, I will add some water here. Hopefully it will induce these 4 tiny divisions to produce a new growth. I really need a new growth in order to save this plant. It's the same thing with the Prostechea. I really need a new growth in order for the Prostechea to produce new roots. The only difference between the Prostechea and this Dendrobium is that this Dendrobium has roots that are alive, while the Prostechea has none, which it's sad because it's more difficult to save that one. Let me add it here. So now is the time for my beautiful Renanthera monachica. I shouldn't import and repot it again because I've done that recently. But what I will do, I will reuse this bark and this moss. I'm not going to throw this away. I know the problem is not with the bark and the moss because I have repotted before and I sprayed everything with hydrogen peroxide. It didn't help at all. The mold is still here. I can see that some of the roots are dead or drying out. So I will unpot because it's not unstable on this pot. I will pot it better. But what I will do with this plant, it's basically I will use something that I read online. I don't think we'll sort the issue with the mold, but I will try, who knows? A super magical portion called ground cinnamon that you find at every supermarket. I will just add this cinnamon to the mold here in between the leaves and to the top. Who knows? It's an experiment. I'm not expecting it to work. I should use a proper fungicide or a pesticide, specially made for fungus to treat fungi, but I don't have it at the moment, and I will try the ground cinnamon first, and I will let you know what happened to my plant. So let's unpot it quickly. I know there is some live roots in here, because I want to make sure these roots are touching the mix. So I may place it down the pot. Let's quickly remove it from the pot. Different from the others, these ones haven't been here for a very, very long time because I don't have, this issue is not a new issue. It has this for a while now. As I mentioned, I don't know if you can see, she does have one live root in here that I don't want to lose. So I'll cut this because this is not alive anymore. And what else? This is not alive anymore. But didn't have many roots to begin with. So, and I knew that because I unpotted this plant before and I potted before. I don't think these roots are the cause of the problem. But what I know is that, gosh, I don't know if the plant is on frame, if you can see it properly. But what I know is that there is definitely an issue here that I have no idea what it is. If I still have live roots on the bottom, here, it's not something that I destroyed the stem completely, but it is a very weird sort of mold. I'm not happy about it, but there is nothing that I can do. So let me keep removing everything. Now I will try to place the whole root system inside this pot and just add all the mix back. Let's see what we are able to do without breaking the only good root that I have in here. Okay, it sounds great. Is everything touching? Oh gosh, is that alive? Oh, that's not alive anymore. Okay. I'm not sure if that was alive or not. I cut one root that it was probably alive. My fault, it was a big root. This one is not dehydrated as the other one, so which means there is two roots that are hydrating this plant. So I will just add the powder to the stem, like so. We use that to seal cuts sometimes, and but I don't know if it has any property that actually kill fungus or fungi, like real properties that everybody knows about. I don't know. The only issue is if I decide to water this plant now, the water will touch the stem. I'm not going to water this plant today. I will add the mix. The mix is a little bit wet because I watered this plant on Friday, but not very wet because this is a Renanthera, it's a vivacious. I live in a place that is quite humid and sometimes cool. As you can see lots of moss, but I do have lots of bark in here as well. It's just the bark went to the bottom of the pot there. The moss is a very good quality moss. And I know that's quite worrying that I'm using the same mix all over again. But as I'm saying, I've tried replacing the mix not long ago. I think it was beginning of this year. And didn't sort the issue. I spray everything with hydrogen peroxide. But since the issue is on the stem here, I don't know how it happens. I don't know how it propagates so fast. It's the first time that it happened to me, and I'm sure, completely sure that's some sort of fungus. It's not mealybugs, for example, because you're gonna look at that and say, oh, maybe it's, no, it's not. It's definitely fungus. Why it never goes away? What I know is that my plant is not healthy or happy. It hasn't bloomed for me this year, and it bloomed beautifully last year. It's another sign that something is definitely weird here. What I will do now, I will keep adding cinnamon powder in between the leaves. This fungi is very weird, and it's been affecting this plant for a while now. So if that has some positive outcome, I will definitely let you know. I know that I seem really crazy that I'm adding lots of cinnamon to the plant. But I'm trying everything. If it works, I may be able to save the plant, who knows? Because I'm considering, I believe I will probably lose it over time. I think it's something that actually destroys the plant little by little. That's what happened to the other one. It's like killing it from the inside, you know, out. If you have experienced that before, let me know. I would love to know what happened to it. It's full of cinnamon. If you're wondering if I'm not providing enough ventilation or if I'm keeping it humid for a very long time, I've already thought about all of these possibilities. And this plant is in a place that is very aerated. I'm not watering it very often, only when I notice that's completely dry. So I've tried everything related to watering and ventilation, but the fungus is still here and is consuming my plants. Okay, let me grab the last plant. Finally, the last one. I don't expect to see any live roots in here. So I have two pots, one very small and one that is larger. It depends the state of the root system and everything that is going on inside this pot. Let me just remove the mix very fast. So the whole root system is completely dead. Everything that was from the older pseudobulbs are dead. As you can see here, this is all dead. And everything that's coming from the newer pseudobulb, none of them grew inside the pot, which is very interesting. So what I will do, I noticed that I used lots of moss, the mix last time. I will use less moss and more bark, because I want to make sure this root system is aerated and growing normally. I don't know what's affecting the growth of these new roots and why they are not growing inside the potting mix. Something is weird and something is definitely affecting them. Let's start removing all of the old roots. And this is a separate division, just came out. There is no roots, but there is a new growth coming here. The first thing is to cut everything that is dead. I will do the same thing that I did with the other ones. And I have this pseudobulb that's rotting here. This one can go away as well. So all the old roots are gone. I'm really sorry about my voice. I still got some sort of chest infection. It's been going on forever. Anyway, I'm not gonna get into it. You're probably not curious about my personal life. But that is a very resilient plant, which means that it never grew proper roots, I think, inside the new pot. I guess they were not really happy with me. I'm so sorry, little Prostecheas. And yeah, everything is dead and dry, which is sad, since the plant without roots will not be able to grow properly. But I knew that because everything was so dehydrated. Leave the tiny ones there to be. And hopefully the newer growths will produce new roots. Put them together. Don't need to spray hydrogen peroxide or anything, because I know these plants don't have any disease. So I could add them inside a high humidity chamber, but I don't think it needs that, since it has 1, 2, 3, 4 new growths. Fingers crossed the new growths will produce new roots and these roots will grow inside the pot. I don't know if it will happen or not, but I will try, because why not, right? Since I am here, and I am hopeful that I will be able to save this plant. No, I shouldn't pot in a very small pot, but there is no reason for me to offer a large pot either, because this has never grown much. And I've kept that in that big pot for a long, long time, and nothing happened to it. So I will keep it in this small pot, and if I notice the root systems branching out, go inside the potting mix and all that, I will definitely unpot and repot in something larger. So I will keep 1 layer of moss at the bottom, as always, and then I will layer that with, I will add this the pesticide is inside. I'm not gonna add any slow release fertilizer because I don't think it's necessary. Not for now. When it grows a little bit more, maybe. I need to stabilize it. Let me grab more bark. I used to have a terrible quality of bark. I find it difficult to find it locally. I have a better one now. Sometimes I buy them in a... There is I think it's called Orchid Accessories or something like that here in the UK. And he sells Orchiada bark, New Zealand Sphagnum moss. So every time that I have to buy Sphagnum moss, because I buy a big pack, I go and buy some better quality bark. But since the bark, I use it more often, I think, or at least the package is not compressed like the Sphagnum moss, so the bark usually finishes first. I buy other bark that I found locally that doesn't have, the quality is not as good as this one. But in the beginning, the quality of the bark was really, really bad, so some of these are potted in this very, very bad quality of bark. Anyway, I don't know if this plant has any other disease or something that is affecting it to grow normally, because none of the roots are actually touching the mix. And since I'm not sure that I know the species correctly, I don't know if it's something with my care or what could be happening. Now it's in a very small pot. It's a transparent pot, so if something happens to it, I will know. But my plant is potted. The next things that I have to do here is just to water it and add an external pot to it. Let me clean everything and let's conclude this video. So my plants are all potted up or repotted, or maybe placed in some sort of high humidity chamber. What I want to tell you and show you for this video is some practical ways of maybe saving your plants, or at least trying to recoup them. And maybe this video will help you to look out for some signs as well of distress with your plants, since I showed you different examples here of things that happened. These are all special plants. I like them all very, very much. They have been all repotted. I offer them the best care that I could. The only difference is like the cinnamon. I've never done that with other orchids. So I'll tell you the results when I see some difference or when I don't see any difference at all. Maybe in a couple of months, if I see that it's getting worse, I will buy a proper fungicide or something that will fungicide. I may be pronouncing that wrongly, let me know. But I will buy something to try to kill this mold properly, who knows. For now, let's use it as an experiment. And with the other ones, it's basically the same thing that we have seen before. And with this one, the only thing that I can, this one I mean my Prostechea, the one that I don't have a tag. I hope its roots from the newer growths grow now inside the pot. If you have any questions about any of these plants, or if you want to let me know something that you know about them as well, I would love to hear and to know a little bit more. That was everything that I want to tell you. This video is already very, very long. I hope you have an excellent day or night ahead of you. And I hope to see you back soon. Bye-bye. Thank you.